Hey folks, Adam here, and we're going to tell you a little story, a cautionary tale that applies to about 82% of expats who move to Thailand. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you have to be very careful of when you move overseas, when you try to retire in a country that's supposed to be less expensive, like Thailand. And we're going to tell you a particularly cautionary tale of a friend of mine who lost his entire retirement fund, over $300,000, when he tried to move to Thailand, and it didn't take him very long to lose it all. So let's go ahead, we're going to check it out and kick it off right about now. So this cautionary tale comes to us that 82%, according to the Thai Travel Bureau, 82% of foreigners who travel and try to retire to Thailand fail. They don't wind up staying. They wind up going back to their country of residence, which can be costly, particularly if they've sold their house, sold their goods, and had to pay a fee to leave their country to begin with. So we're going to look at this in great detail. Before we do that, though, go ahead and click that subscribe button. We've got plenty of tales from Thailand. Leave us a comment, and we would love to have you again as a subscriber. This is a newer channel, so every subscription does matter, and every like and comment helps us in the algorithm to where more people see our content, and we would appreciate that. All right, so back in the 1970s, we're going to give you a little history here. This is post-Vietnam War presence. After the Vietnam War, many Americans and contractors stationed in Southeast Asia became familiar with Thailand. They thought it was the vacation R&R place to be. So what did they do? They thought it would be a great place to retire. Particularly soldiers who had been stationed overseas for a long period of time became comfortable there. Many of them had wives and family members who lived in Thailand and Asia, and this became the affordable atmosphere that people wanted to either return to or stay in post-retirement. So it became a very, very important part of American culture was the concept of retiring to a nation that was cheaper. And Thailand fit the bill in droves, and it offered this attraction of, $2 massages and 50-cent beers. And people like, man, I could go there and I could live like a king on my military pension. So it became very, very popular in the 1970s. So Thailand, of course, introduced this thing called long stay visas. Thailand's immigration policy in the 1970s allowed relatively easy visa applications for foreigners because they knew that they needed that foreign money. Thailand was a very poor country at that time frame, so they made it very easy for people with money to come in. And with their low cost of living, this allowed people to live at a higher quality of life compared to what they would back home. That resulted in better food, better housing, better health care. And with low labor costs, suddenly people were super excited to move to Thailand. Now, in Bangkok, Pattaya, Chiang Mai, Phuket, there became these expat communities of both Australians, Americans, the British, even Russians, making their retirements more appealing by moving to these communities. And since the 60s and 70s, some of these fishing villages, like Pattaya, just became more and more of a presence of U.S. personnel and U.S. people, so they had this reputation of being very friendly to foreigners. So you can imagine as they're friendly to foreigners. Last time I was in Pattaya, there was a Sizzler restaurant where you could get a cheap bunch of ribs. There were dozens of McDonald's and KFCs and American westernized fast food chains, their shopping malls. And if you're somebody looking to be comfortable overseas, these became very, very popular destinations. Of course, there's also the allure of a tropical climate, and as more and more quality air conditioning and access to electricity and things became more and more prevalent in Thailand, it just became a better place. And if you're trying to escape northern state in the United States, there's just an appeal, whether you're in Germany or Michigan, wherever you may be, the climate change is very welcome. There's also a medical tourism advantage. A lot of medicine just wound up being cheaper in Thailand. So your bang for your buck went better, and that's because of a currency advantage. With favorable exchange rates for decades, US and European currencies stretch much further in Thailand than they did back home. So if you were on, say, a military or a government or a Ford pension, a union pension, and you have a couple $1,000s a month coming in, you could get very good care and quality because of that currency advantage. And of course, Thailand has a hospitality reputation. They're known for welcoming foreigners. So they're a land of smiles, as everyone calls it. And it's the dream location to be relaxed and respected in your retirement because you're not in an area that necessarily frowns upon tourism. Japan doesn't always want tourists to stay. The United States doesn't always want tourists to stay. But Thailand, they're welcoming, they're smiling, they're happy to have you. So it makes a world of difference. All right. So the first wave of settlers started in the 1970s. It was primarily single men and veterans who wanted simpler, affordable life, and that trend continued for decades. Now, by the 1980s, the tourism boom really began in Thailand. Thailand aggressively promoted tourism internationally, drawing global attention to their beaches, their culture, their affordability, their housing, and there was a real marketing campaign set out towards the rest of the world that this is the place that you take your retirement money and you spend it here. And accordingly, there was an expat infrastructure with hospitals, restaurants, healthcare, and everything being affordable. Suddenly, people were like, oh, I guess I could move there. Chiang Mai, Phuket, all these cities, whether they were smaller cities, growing into bigger cities, cities that didn't have great infrastructure, having infrastructure, and the location just becoming more and more friendly to kind of Western tourism. Okay, the medical quality, still low price, started to go up. The rising popularity of beach towns, particularly Pattaya, it became this major center where expats and retirees and older Western men kind of knew that they could have a lot of fun for low price. And that was appealing to a lot of people. And with media and word of mouth, guidebooks like the one called Lonely Planet, expat newsletters, and all the different information about retirement destinations, suddenly the 80s saw this influx and this big boom of tourism. And that's pretty cool. So everything continued down that path. And don't worry, we're going to get to what you need to do and what you need to not do to save your retirement money and not waste it in Thailand. But you should definitely consider moving to Thailand. It's a wonderful place. Make sure to click that subscribe button. We do appreciate it. And leave us a comment. Now, in the 1990s, everything continued like it was in the 80s. Tourism and infrastructure continued to boom. But they introduced, the Thai government introduced a retirement visa, non-immigration OA visa in Thailand. It was a long stay visa designed for foreigners over 50 years old who desired to retire and stay for an extended period of time. It was formally introduced in 1998, and it still is one of the main types of visas for retirees today. So its eligibility is a person who's 50 years or older. It's valid for 1 year and can be renewed annually. You must apply from your home of country and your home of residence, and there's a re-entry permit required if you plan to leave and re-enter. You have to kind of re-enter all the data. But it's really, really cool that you can stay for a year at a time. And that was a big advancement in 1998 because people started to get a real clear path to long-term living in Thailand. Basically, all you need is to check in every 90 days, prove that you have health care, have a good, clean criminal record in your home country, and a Thai bank account, and you have to show you have funds. That's like $10,000 worth of funds, and they'll say, okay, you can come here. Which, for a retiree, hopefully you're starting off with at least $10,000 worth of funds. So my friend had visited Pattaya several times. He really liked the beach town. He thought, man, this is the place that I want to be. I love the idea of Pattaya. If you haven't been there yet, there's a big walking street that's super fun. Lots of clubs and people to meet and things to do. You can play games, you can drink, you can eat food. There's everything you can imagine. There's street food, and there's markets and vendors and karaoke's and singers and everything down Walking Street at night. It's super fun. Then there's a beach road, and it's a beautiful beach road, and there's places to get a massage and there's restaurants, and there's hotels, and there's a lot of activities on Beach Road. Of course, you can rent jet skis and horses and all sorts of things. I think you can rent horses, right? So there's a lot that you can do in Pattaya. He decided, and I'm looking, I've got my notes over here. He decided that he was going to get a ground floor refitted bar with kitchen, air conditioning. It was fully fitted, 4 big themed private bedrooms with bathrooms. So that's something that they have in a lot of bars, is either apartments above them that you can rent out. Yeah, I guess that's it. That can be, if it's a massage place, you can rent it out as a place where you can do massages, or if it's large enough above it, you can rent that out as a room for somebody to live in. And sometimes if you buy a bar, you can live above the bar. It says it's situated in the vibrant heart of Pattaya Beach, a bustling hub, renowned for its electrifying nightmare and stunning beaches, lies an enticing opportunity for entrepreneurs. So it was a refurbished gem, offered a unique blend of entertainment and hospitality. It's bar/go-go business with guest bedrooms for sale, poised to captivate both revelers and travelers alike. It's at street level, ground level, meticulously refitted bar, great atmosphere, etc., etc., sleek aesthetics, optimal comfort for guests, equipped with air conditioning, uninterrupted enjoyment because of the air conditioning, great for nightlife, etc., etc., amidst the tranquil, bustling energy of Pattaya. Yeah. Close proximity to the bars and then the pristine shoreline, etc. He spent, let's look at the numbers here, $316,000. Now here's the thing. He had over $300,000 of a retirement fund. So his idea was that he just needed to make enough profit on a monthly basis to cover his expenses, which could be healthcare, which could be his room and board, because he did live separately from the bar. Could be covering the cost of entertainers and bartenders and drinks and food and whatever, paying cooks and cleaners and everything like that. I think what he didn't really realize is that there's cost to carry a business, and that can be a bit of a nightmare for a lot of people. So he sunk most of his retirement into buying the bar, and then he's kind of stuck there running the bar every single night, and the money that he was making off the bar, he was paying out to bartenders, to entertainers, to everybody to clean it and to cook and to buy food and to buy liquor. So what he had done wrong is, one thing, he knew nothing about business, but a lot of people come to Pattaya and they think, oh, I can just buy a bar, I can just live there, and I will make money, because these things make money left and right. But what you forget about is that a lot of these bars, there's a lot of competition, a lot of locals who can do it cheaper than you. There's also, expats seem to get charged a little extra. There's almost like a 20%, sometimes 50, sometimes 80% expat surcharge, because they know that they can charge you a little more. What are you going to do? You can't even argue in their native language. So if you're buying liquor, you might be buying a bottle for $20 and someone else is getting it for $8. If you're paying a hostess or a bartender, you might pay them $5 an hour where someone else is paying them $2 an hour. So all of your costs are higher than everyone else, but your patrons know the difference and they are only going to pay the same amount. They're not going to pay more for your bar just because it's run by a Westerner. So a lot of people go ahead and they dump their retirement funds into buying a bar, and then they realize it costs them more to run the bar. So if they want to survive, their profit margins are practically zero, because everyone else can survive off of just a slim profit margin. And if your expenses are much higher, he was not doing so well with this bar. And it was a beautiful bar. It was a fun bar. He also, he had about $450,000 total. Well, he paid to renovate the bar, and then he paid to manage the bar, and he paid to, and honestly, he wasn't the best businessman. So, and I think that's a problem with a lot of bartenders, and you guys leave me your comments below, or people who buy bars, is they're better bar patrons than they are business people. So he didn't know how to buy a bar. He just thought he likes drinking. He likes hanging out at bars. Why wouldn't he buy one? Also, he winds up spending too much money frequenting the other bars, hanging out with the ladies of Thailand, doing whatever a bartender do in Thailand. And that's where you really have issues. Now, another thing is there's a lot of maintenance in Thailand, whether that is air conditioning has to be fixed, the roof has to be fixed, anything like that. You're in a subtropical environment. It can get costly really quickly. So the one thing that I would give you as advice is if you're moving to Thailand, don't think you're going to start a business in Thailand to support yourself, because a lot of people fail. Now, if you haven't run a bar before, don't try to start one in a foreign country. And on top of that, there's a lot of fees that have to be paid to the government. There's a lot of fees that have to be paid to locals. There's business taxes and business licenses, and you have to pay lawyers to get those for you and agencies to help you out with that. And the taxes can be quite intrusive, particularly if you're doing it honestly. And it can be a very difficult venture. So even if you've had experience being a bartender anywhere in the world, doesn't mean that you can run a bar in a different country. Everything that they taught us in not Risky Business, the Tom Cruise movie, where he becomes a bartender in the Kokomos, probably not true. Don't go open a bar overseas, folks. And let me give you a few facts about businesses, starting a business in Thailand. Do you know that 60% of new businesses, including bars, in Thailand close within the first year? That is not good, particularly if you're a foreigner who doesn't really know the area. Yeah. In many local surveys, it says 50% of newly opened venues shut down within 6 months of launch. Pre-COVID levels, the survival, since COVID, the survival rates are really shrinking compared to previous. And over a 3-year period, an estimated of 600,000 restaurants and bars have closed in Thailand. Costs are going up, and it's harder to maintain. Typically, a restaurant spends a lot of money on the food itself. And with rising food costs worldwide, it's hard to keep up. And, even if you have purchased the restaurant, sometimes there's additional fees you don't even realize, like renting the land. So folks, if you've watched this far in the video, I do hope that you click that subscribe button. We've got a lot of fun videos coming for you. Leave us a comment. Would you ever consider opening a bar overseas? And was that a good idea? I want to thank you for joining us. My name is Adam. We're giving you travel tips and travel stories all the time. Thanks for watching. Adios, amigos.